However, with this newfound technology, there is also rising costs as well. The age of cheap fuel is over now. In the future, Shell visualizes an era which will use fossil fuels in together with the green technology, where cost of energy will be much higher than today.
Can you talk about Shell operation in ASEAN countries? See, Thailand and 9 other countries going to join the ASEAN Economic Community in 2015, going to be a big economic area, single market and production base in this region. So what are the latest development of Shell?
So first of all, the ASEAN countries have in common that this is really a powerhouse in terms of growth and economic development. And it's fortunately an area where Shell has a long history. So parts of Shell actually developed in this area. I've also a personal history there. I've been living in Brunei for a number of years with lots of pleasure. We see the agenda of this growing population both on how to find and to develop oil and gas, but also on how to use it, for instance, in the way gasoline finds its way into the market in an efficient way. Think about fuel safe, extremely important. So I believe that there's a significant future within ASEAN, for ASEAN, in terms of how to effectively find and develop oil and gas and make the most of the reservoirs which we have all across ASEAN, and also to help the clients, the customers, to really power their lives into the future.
I see. Besides Brunei, which other countries in ASEAN that you are quite active?
So we are quite active, I think we're quite active in most of the countries. But we, for instance, have been involved in developing fields in the Philippines, we're in Brunei, we're in Malaysia. Think about
Thailand.
We're in Thailand, particularly on the downstream side, is a good example. There's a wide variety of activities we have, indeed stretching from really finding in deep water oil and gas which has not been found yet, to really serving the customer in the gasoline stations with products which allow their lives to be powered forwards.
I see. See, ASEAN also have ASEAN Part3 with China, Japan and Korea, and also Part6 with India, Australia, New Zealand. Can you mention about the big economic powerhouses like China and India, how Shell has been doing?
So I think, and that is, so the fact that we move from 7 billion to 9 billion people is not a problem for one country. It's a challenge for many countries who need to find their way to get energy security, get acceptable energy, and get affordable energy. And each of these countries finds their solution to move forward. I think in the Far East, in ASEAN specifically, there's lots of opportunities which are ASEAN specific. In China, for instance, you very much see a desire to move away from the dependence on coal to gas, so you see a very strong unconventional gas agenda. In India, I think it's about indeed making sure that you can import gas and make sure that you continue to fuel that society which is also very fastly developing. So every country will make its own choices, and I think we as a company, as Shell, are very keen and happy to help, and that's back to the theme of partnership and collaboration, countries finding their energy solutions.
I see. I understand that oil and gas or hydrocarbons still account for the majority of energy consumption around the world. In your opinion, what is the prospect of renewable and alternative energies?
I think the prospect of renewable and alternative energy is large. And I think it's very good and very right that the world tries to move in that direction, reducing costs, getting investments really make their own returns. But as much as you can be proud as a world of making a step change of maybe a factor 7, moving from 4% or 2%, 3% now to maybe 28, 20, 30% in 2050, that means that per definition, 2/3 is still fossil. And that's 2/3 of twice the amount of energy which we have today. That's why I say it's not a choice about alternative energy or fossil. Alternative is very important, but it will go at a pace which does not allow us to lose our eye off the ball on the fossil side. It will become important, and rightly so. I also believe that there's a lot of opportunity for fossil energies to be combined with alternative energy. As a simple example, think about solar or think about wind energy. Sometimes you have a lot of it, sometimes you have nothing at all, day or night, winter or summer. if you can combine these alternative energies with, for instance, gas,
Yes.
which is very cheap, which is very acceptable from a fossil perspective, and which we have a lot of, then you have almost an unbeatable combination. The reliability and the cost of gas with the character and the acceptability of alternative energy. I think there's a significant space in the future for that hybrid combination.
So-called smart grid, how they manage the combination of different energies together.
Yes, yes, yeah. So I think ultimately this will not be about choosing between solar and wind, but this will be about how can you combine energy sources and the way you store energy and give it back, the way you transport it and the way you trade it in such a way that ultimately the client gets energy in an acceptable and an affordable way. Yeah.
In your opinion, how market mechanism been affecting the development of sustainable energy?
I think market mechanisms will ultimately affect whatever energy you try to develop, but I think at this moment in time we should be proud of a world which is really trying to find ways and means into that energy challenge space, combining the fossil and the alternative side. And I think it's more driven by what technologies we can really have breakthrough in the various markets and the various societies of this world than whether the market mechanisms help or don't help. Ultimately, alternative energy will have to stand on its own legs. So it will be driven by price. For now, we have a joint challenge to make the most of that new type of resource. I think in combination with particularly gas.
I see. And what should be the government roles in promoting this renewable alternative energy in combination with the traditional sources of energy?
I think governments have always a strong role to play in this.
Yes.
I think they do not only regulate, but I think they can really stimulate, they can really enable, they can really help the different companies and the different partners in society work together to come up with these solutions. Think about how they help and enable universities and knowledge institutes to focus on different types of energy, whether it's fossil or whether it's alternative. Think about how they can really create platforms where small new businesses can start to flourish in this space. Think about how they can help stimulate youngsters, young enthusiastic staff, as you see so many in ASEAN, to really to take studies which are of a technical nature rather than other nature, and make sure that you build up the capability, the people capability in the country. I think the government can do a lot in that space.
I see. And on pricing, if you have a crystal ball looking forward to how energy prices, and start with the crude oil price, now we in the range of 100, slightly more than that, dollar per barrel.
Yeah.
And looking forward, what is the likely trend on?
Yeah, so I don't know. Unfortunately, I do not have a crystal ball, and I don't think it's a good idea to speculate around it. I think what is important is to understand two things. First of all, because the time of easy oil and easy gas has gone,
over,
because alternative energy is important but still developing and from its childhood, there will be pressure on how to get that energy affordable. But there's good news. And the good news is that there's also technology, and partnership and technology will help us to really drive down costs. And I'm a technology person. I'm the chief technologist in Shell. I do believe that that technology has a strong role to play in finding better, higher quality solutions in this space.
Last but not least, I understand that you've been working with Shell for 25 years?
Yes, plus 26 years, correct.
25 years ago and today, the technology in finding oil, how different is it?
Significantly more exciting. People do not realize how exciting and inspiring and motivating and challenging technology world we have in. If I would have known 26 years ago how challenging and exciting the technology world will be right now in 2012, I would have wondered how can I get close to 2012 quickly. The world is so exciting. There are so many good things and exciting and interesting things to do for young people that if anything I can only recommend people to really seriously consider getting into this business because it's the most exciting business in the world.
Then is it correct to say that we could find oil more efficiently, easier, or because of technology, because actually what is the definite or infinite amount of energy in the world?
Yeah, so I think the most interesting thing is that if you look at all the oil companies, they have added more reserves in the last 10 years than they've been able to produce. I do believe that the time of the easy oil is gone and the easy gas is gone. But if you move into the unconventional space, there's so much extra space that I would find it very difficult to quote how many years we have. But give an example, I'm pretty sure that it will be over the 100 for the oil as we currently know it.
More another 100 years.
Yes, and then I'm not talking about new forms of oil sands or new forms of oil shales. If you think on the gas side, at the current level of consumption, probably more than 250 years, which is a long amount. So the fossil oil and gas world will not stop because we are running out of molecules. It will change and modify as customers find different choices between what they find acceptable, affordable, and how it drives the security of supply in specific countries. And I think that's why the world will be a very exciting world, because you'll see through technology many new forms of energy combinations starting to come to the fore.
So another 100 years for oil and 200 years for gas, roughly speaking?
Yes, and so I think it will be an exciting time, because we will find different ways in which we develop and produce and offer that energy. And again, I can only invite people to kind of be part of that wonderful world.
So, Mr. Shortman, thank you for joining our program.
You're most welcome. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Follow Towards 2015 every Wednesday and Thursday from 10:30 to 11 p.m. on ASEAN TV. And you can also follow us online via Facebook only on ASEAN TV.